How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. As always, if you guys want access to the private repository for this project, there's a link in the description down below that'll walk through exactly how to gain access to that. With that being said, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Today, we're going to go ahead and try to completely deprecate the old post slice. What I mean by that was we're going to go ahead and bring over the rest of the logic and creating a post over to our new post slice, and then go ahead and implement that across the application. We also need to make a couple of changes to the backend to be able to actually create a post, but fingers crossed this episode is not too long and we get to go ahead and create all the posts. And the next episode we can go ahead and continue working on trying to get it so we can edit our post images. With that being said, let me go ahead and move some stuff around on my desktop, hop into the code, and get to work here. So like I mentioned, today we're going to be starting out inside of our post slice. We want to go ahead and first we need to make a new interface for our post body. We're also going to go ahead and bring in an interface specifically for updating our posts as well, so things like and bookmark and stuff like that. So let's just start out the interface, and then we'll go ahead and call this createPostBody. Inside of our createPostBody, we have an author, which is a user. We're going to go ahead and have content of type string. We're going to have a scheduled, which is a boolean. Maybe have a scheduled date, which is going to be a date or null, and we're setting it as null because on the back end we're going to check to see if it's there. Our audience we probably could have gotten rid of, but I haven't taken it out of the back end yet. It'll be everyone, or it'll go ahead and be circle, because I think circle died or something like that, and that's why I took audience out, but I don't remember. Reply restriction is going to be a reply restrictions. And then we have images, which is a post image array. So this is like one of the big changes here. We're going to go ahead and have our GIF, which is a post image or null, which is another thing. We're going to go and check to see if it exists. We're going to have poll, which is going to be a poll or null. Again, we'll check for it in the backend. We'll have is reply, which is going to be boolean. We're going to have reply to, which is a number, and we need our token, which is a string. So the big thing here is we're not going to be making a request specifically for replies and requests specifically for post. We're not going to be making requests for media versus non-media. Literally everything that has to do with creating a post, whether it's a reply, whether it is a post, whatever, is all going to come through one request. There is one oversight that I didn't make, which is threads. So I did take out one thing out of the post body, but we'll have to fix that up, but that shouldn't be too bad. We're also going to go ahead and make an interface, post action body. So this is going to come over from our old slice, post ID and number, and it's going to have a token string. So like I mentioned, this is from our old one. I'm thinking we're just going to copy paste those, including the reducers, so that's going to be fun. But let's go ahead and set up our first async thunk. So export const, and we're going to go ahead and call this createPost is equal to create async thunk, like so. Inside here we're going to have post v2 slash and then create, and in here we'll have async, like so, and body will be a create post body, and then we'll have our thunk API. And let's go ahead and break this up. So this is going to be fun. We're going to go ahead and say let poll body equal to null to start out, and then if we have a body dot poll, we're going to go ahead and do some work. So here we're going to say let post date is equal to body dot scheduled date question mark. So if we have a scheduled date, then it's going to be body dot scheduled date. Otherwise, it'll go ahead and just start out whenever we post the post, basically. So that'll be the start date of the poll. We're going to let days equal to plus body dot poll dot end time. And then we did this in a really weird way because it was how many days, minutes, hours. So we're going to have to split the time. So we're going to go ahead and get days by splitting by the colon and 0. We're going to say let hours is equal to plus body dot poll dot end maybe time dot split, and then colon, and then this one will be 1, and then we'll say let minutes equal to plus body dot poll maybe dot end time dot split. If I could type, that'd be cool. Colon, and then this one will be 2. So then we're gonna have how many days, hours, and minutes we want to go. And I did a console log here originally, but I'm not gonna deal with that. So now we're gonna say post date dot set date, and then we're gonna go ahead and say post date dot get date, and we're gonna go ahead and say plus days to go ahead and add those on. We're gonna say post date dot set hours, and this is gonna be post date dot get hours, and we're gonna go ahead and add in those extra hours, and we're gonna say post date dot set, and this one's gonna be minutes, and here we're gonna go and say post date dot get minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and say plus minutes. So basically we're going to take the start date of the poll, or the start date of whenever the post is scheduled, add on the days, hours, and minutes of our poll, and that's going to be the new end date of the poll. Then we're going to say poll body is equal to body dot poll, and then we're going to go ahead and pass in end time will be post date. We could have called it something other than post date, but it is what it is. So I need to go ahead and set up a custom poll body to be able to go ahead and send that over to the backend. We're going to go ahead and set up a try catch now. Try catch e, and if there's an error, we're going to go ahead and return our thunk API dot reject with value API maybe dot reject with value, pass in e. We'll deal with that later. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and say let PostDTO equal to, and we're going to set up this. So author is going to be body dot author. We're going to have our content, which will be body dot content, and then after content we'll go ahead and have scheduled. We'll go ahead and be body dot scheduled. We'll have our scheduled date, which will be body dot scheduled date, and then we will have audience audience, which will be body dot audience, and then we will have reply restriction, and then here this is body dot reply restriction. We'll have our images images, which is body I could type dot images. We'll have our gif, which is body dot gif, and then next after that we'll have poll, which is going to be our poll body, and our is reply will be body that is reply, and then finally we'll have reply to, which is body dot reply to. And we're going to go ahead and check to see is reply. If it's false, we're just going to go ahead and ignore that reply to. I'm going to say const res is equal to await axios, and we'll need to import axios dot post, and then in here we're just going to go ahead and post to http / localhost colon 8000 / and then this is going to be post / we're going to go ahead and pass in our PostDTO. So let's set up our headers. So headers in here, we're going to go ahead and have our authorization header. So authorization colon, and then here we're going to backticks bear and $ curly brace body.token. So that's why we kind of break that apart a little bit. I'm sure there's a way to just take the token out or something, but it's fine. And then we're going to have to do a little bit of work here. We're going to say const state any is equal to thunk API dot get state. We're going to go ahead and get the state. We're going to grab the post out there. We're going to update the post. So if our state dot feed dot post, obviously it should exist, but we have to check just because of TypeScript and stuff. I'm sure there is a way to go ahead and get the state more elegantly instead of any. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. But we're going to say let post of feed post array maybe equal to JSON dot parse, and we're going to go ahead and JSON dot stringify, and basically we're just going to make a copy of our state dot feed dot post. Why? Because we can't change them directly, so we're just going to make a copy. We're going to say let new post equal to, and the post is going to be res.data. Our reply to will go ahead and be res.data.reply 2, and that'll be like a 0 or something if it doesn't exist. Repost will be false because we just created the post, so obviously it's not a repost. And repost user is going to be res.data.author. Again, this gets ignored. I wish I would have set this up a little bit differently, but it is what it is now. You can't do anything about it. We're going to go thunk API.dispatch, and then here we're going to say set feed post, and then we're going to go ahead and say new post, comma, our other post. So we're going to go ahead and update the feed whenever we create a new post. And then at the bottom of this, after we do all that, we'll go ahead and return the res.data like so. So that looks good. And we also have already done our reject with value. So now let's go ahead and hop into the old slice and grab our repost post, our like post, our bookmark post, and bring those in. So let's go ahead and scroll down now that we're in here. So what we want is we're going to skip over create post and create reply. We're going to go ahead and skip over create post with media and create reply with media. We're going to go ahead and grab our repost post. We're going to grab our like post and our bookmark post. And we're going to skip over view because I want to refactor view anyway. Now let's hop into our post slice v2. Let's go ahead and just paste these guys in. Shouldn't be any issues because all we're doing is returning the data and we are just using the post action body that we had already set up. Now for our reducers, I'll go ahead and do all the cases for our create post. I think it's pretty simple though. I think all we do is just reset stuff. So let's see here. Let's come down to where our reducers go. We need to go below these reducers, and I believe it goes here, or does it go here? It goes here. Okay, we'll go ahead and say extra reducers, and we'll say builder and our arrow function. And these are going to be pretty simple. So builder.add case, and then here we're going to say create post.pending, and then we'll have our state and action. And here all we're going to go ahead and do is return state, and then after this we'll say loading is true, and then loading is true, and then our error is false, so that's good enough. And then we'll go ahead and say builder add case, and we're just going to go ahead and do all these for now. To be create post.fulfilled, and then here we're going to have our state and our action, and this one is going to be pretty simple as well. It's going to go ahead and return or not we're just going to go ahead and return initial state. Let me fix this. Return initial state. So we're just going to reset the state whenever it's successful so we can start making a new post. And then builder.add case, and then in here it's going to be create post.rejected, and then we'll have our state and action come in here, and then this is going to go ahead and return our state, and then in here we'll have loading as false and our error as true. Cool, that looks good. So now we should be able to create a post in theory. And then now what we want to go ahead and do is hop back into our post slice v1, grab all of our like, repost, and bookmark, all of that stuff, and bring it in. So let's come down to where async thunks are in here. If I remember correctly, I think we grouped all these together. So I should be able to do, if I scroll down past all of this, although this is, let's see here, there's a couple pending, view post, create post. So I must have put it like way below all of this. So let's see, I'm hoping that I grouped them all together to make it easier. So repost fulfilled. I might have only done fulfilled for these, which is fine because like the amount of times these are probably going to fail is probably pretty slim. Let me just see if there's any. Nope. Okay, that's fine. So let's hop into the post slice v2. That'll make our lives easier. I just only did fulfilled for these, but that makes sense because like the odds of these failing are very slim. Let's paste those in and beautify them a little bit. And literally these are all the same. And I do have it set up that it modifies the current feed in place. I don't remember how we did that. The other thing is I think I tried to set it up so that we just had like a default action that all of these do, but I don't remember if that even worked. I don't think it did because all they really do is just return the state with loading false and error false. So it is what it is. Also, like we don't even really do anything with these, so I think we could have just left these out, but that's fine. So that is going to be everything. Now let's hop into our feed post creator and set it up so we can actually call this. Now we can go ahead and go into our submit post and we can go ahead and call this dispatch. So we're going to go ahead and check if we are logged in, which we should have, and we have a token. So and token, and we're going to go ahead and say CreatePostDTO has an author because author is one of the most important parts. So we're gonna go ahead and say if, not if, let submit post body equal to, and in here we'll have author. And actually I go ahead and make sure this is a, nope, never mind, I'm just going crazy. Author create post DTO dot author. We're gonna go ahead and have our content. Whoops, our content is create post DTO dot content. We'll go ahead and have our scheduled will be a create post. Nope, that's fine. DTO dot scheduled. And then we'll have our scheduled date. So scheduled, whoops, scheduled. If I could type date, we create post DTO. That scheduled, I can't type now. Scheduled date. Then we'll have our audience. Audience will be create post DTO. The audience, whoops, audience. And then we'll have our reply restrictions, which will be create post DTO dot reply restriction. After reply restriction of images, which will be our create post DTO dot images. We'll have our GIF, which will be create post DTO dot GIF question mark. If that's the case, it'll be create post DTO dot GIF or null, and that's because this one's actually undefined. And then we'll have our poll. It'll be create post DTO dot poll question mark. And I think I need to do this for scheduled date. I was just forgot. DTO dot poll or null. We'll come back up for scheduled date in a second. Is reply will be false, and reply to will be -1, because we know for a fact that since we're submitting a post as not a reply, then we'll have our token. And let's go ahead and fix this. So one, we accidentally added a thing there. This should be create post DTO, and then here scheduled date should be question mark. If that's the case, we'll have create post DTO dot scheduled date or null. So now we have all our optional ones says null for us to check. And then now what we can go ahead and do is I just straight up didn't even actually call the submit or the dispatch for some reason. I don't know how I didn't paste that in. So we're going to go in dispatch, create post. This is going to come from a post slice v2. We're going to go ahead and pass in our submit post body like so, and dispatch that. So I don't know how I forgot to add it in. Let me just double check my GitHub really quick to make sure this is in fact what we want. Yes, it is. I think it's just how many changes and stuff there were got a little bit crazy. So now let's go into our usePostActions and update to usePost v2. So now in here, all we're going to literally do is go into our bookmark, whatever, and then in view post, we are going to go ahead and keep that. So import and view post from, and this is going to get mad for a second, and -- redux / slices / post slice. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and delete view post from here. And then all we're going to do is go ahead and throw a v2 on, and that should act the same. So now the only thing we need to deprecate out of post slices is the view post, but we're going to go ahead and set up a webhook for that, I think, eventually. So now we should be able to also like and do all that stuff on the post. Toggle reply, we're gonna have to do some stuff in here. I just realized that we haven't touched, but I'm not doing the replies right now. I just want to get post working and setting up images and stuff for post. So that's why I haven't touched reply, but reply is gonna be broken for the time being, but we'll deal with it when we get there. So now that this is all done, we still can't quite make a post yet because we need to be able to hop onto the back end and update some stuff. So we're gonna basically gut our CreatePostDTO and rebuild it. That way we can go ahead and create the post. So let's hop into the back end and deal with that. So here inside of our CreatePostDTO, we still want our application user author. We still want our content. Like I mentioned, we got rid of replies for the time being. That's because I was silly, and honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and clear this just to make our lives a little bit easier, and we're just going to restart from scratch. So we're going to have a private and application user, and this will be our author. We're going to have our private content string. Make sure I actually put string in it, string content, and then we'll have our private Boolean scheduled. We will have our private, and this will be local date time scheduled. Whoops. Maybe scheduled date. We're going to go ahead and have our private audience. Maybe. There we go. Audience. We're going to have our private reply restriction, and then a private list of image, similar to what we had before. And we'll go ahead and call these images, and then a private image GIF. After GIF, we'll have our private poll of a private boolean is reply, and our private integer reply to. Let's go ahead and set up some constructors. So I'm going to go ahead and just set up a no argument constructor like so. I'm going to go ahead and set up an all argument constructor. You guys can set this up however you like. So this is going to go to 9, 10. Whoops. Let me go ahead and try again. I hit the wrong button. That's all of our fields. Let's just clean this up a little bit to make it look pretty. And then I'm going to go ahead and set up some getters and setters really quick. So getters and setters, and then just a toString for the heck of it. And again, this is going to go all the way to 11 for this one. And you guys are probably using IntelliJ or something, so it'll be a little bit simpler to set up your getters and setters and stuff. Or you might be using whatever it's called, Longbox, and deal with that. So that's fine. It's gonna be mad at us because we changed a bunch of stuff in here. That is also fine. We'll fix it as we go. Next, we need to go ahead and go into our poll model and fix a issue we have with the date. So I don't know why this is all of a sudden an issue, but now it does not like this JSON.format. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this as well for now. Maybe it's because I was passing it as like a string earlier or something, but now it seems to be parsing it in fine, and fingers crossed we don't have too many bugs with this. So now let's go into our post service to go ahead and simplify creating the post. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of literally everything in here. So we're going to get rid of createPost. Well, not everything. We're going to get rid of createPost. We're going to go ahead and get rid of createReply with media. We're going to go ahead and createReply and get rid of createReply with media. I meant createPost with media earlier. And then we're just going to go ahead and have a public post, and this is going to go ahead and be called create post, and it's going to have a CreatePostDTO and DTO, and this is going to throws an unable to save photo exception like so. So we're going to go ahead and say post is equal to new post. We're going to go ahead and set up a new post. We're going to go ahead and check if our DTO dot get is reply. Maybe if I could type. So if it's a reply, we're going to go ahead and say post dot set reply to, and this is going to be DTO dot get is or reply to. So that will be set to something other than a negative. Otherwise, we're just going to say post dot set reply to -1. All right, now we're going to go ahead and say list of image, and here is say post images is equal to a new array, array list. We're going to go ahead and set up a list of our images. So we want to go ahead and check to see if we got a GIF. So if DTO dot get GIF is not equal to null, and we have to check to see where it's from, and our DTO dot get GIF, and then dot get image URL dot to lowercase, just to make sure there's no funky stuff going on, contains tenor. We want to make sure if it contains tenor, we're going to do one thing. We're going to say image GIF from tenor. We have to basically upload it slightly differently, is equal to DTO dot get GIF. Make sure I do this right. GIF. So we'll go ahead and get our image. We'll say GIF, GIF from tenor. This might be a long one, guys. Sorry. Dot set image path, and then this is going to be DTO dot get GIF, and hopefully I do this right. Dot, and we're going to say get image URL. After that, we're going to go ahead and say GIF from tenor. Oh my goodness. It's going to be equal to image service. If I could type, that'd be cool. And then we're going to say save GIF from post, and this is going to go ahead and take in the GIF from tenor, like so. And then we're going to go ahead and say post images dot add. And we're going to go ahead and add that GIF from, and then tenor, maybe. And hopefully I didn't mess anything up. Let's just see. Okay, it's not mad us, so that's good. Next we're going to say else if we have a GIF in general. So DTO dot get GIF, and then this is going to be equal to null, not equal to null. And then we're going to go and say and not DTO dot get GIF dot get image URL dot to lowercase dot contains, and then tenor. So if we have a GIF but it does not contain tenor in the URL, basically we uploaded it ourselves. So we're going to say image, and uploaded GIF is going to be equal to image service dot, and then this is going to be update image from base64. This is supposed to say upload, but I completely typoed, but it is what it is. It's going to say DTO dot get GIF, and then dot get image URL. So that's going to be our base64, and the prefix is going to be post. So let's go ahead and throw post on there, and then we're going to say post images dot, and then add here going to be uploaded GIF. So now if it was a GIF, we're going to go ahead and deal with that. And I typoed something somewhere because we have an extra parenthesis. Let's see here. I think it's because one, we accidentally did this. That'll fix that. That should fix that. And let's just see if we have any errors. No. Cool. So that's good to go. And then we need to go ahead and process any images that we have. So if our TTO.getImages.size is greater than 0, so that means we have images. So then we're going to say for, and we're going to do old school int I equal to 0. I is less than DTO.getImages.size. And then we're going to go ahead and say I++. Or I could have done this a different way, but if for each wasn't working because we were adding stuff and doing some weird stuff. So image current post image, whoops, is going to be equal to image, whoops, maybe image service dot upload image from base64 DTO dot get images dot get, and then we could have done this a little bit nicer, dot get image URL. Could have grabbed the image out or something, but oh well. How about post? And then we're going to go ahead and say post images dot add, and we're going to go ahead and add in that current post image. I don't know if we're going to have time to test every single scenario here because it's probably not even going to work with the basic scenario. It's going to break or something. We might have to do that in the next episode because I know we're getting a little bit long here. Next, we'll go ahead and say post dot set, and then post images. Maybe it might just be set images. There we go. Set images. And we post images. Now we have dealt with the images. Now we need to deal with the poll. So poll saved poll is equal to null. And then in here, we're going to go ahead and try not to screw up. We're going to go ahead and check to see if we have a poll in the body. So if we're going to go ahead and say DTO dot get poll is not equal to null. There is a way to use optionals with these request bodies, but it's kind of a pain. That's why I did this way. Poll p is equal to a new poll, and we're going to go ahead and set our poll p.set, and time is going to go ahead and be DTO, whoops, not body, DTO dot get, and then this is in time, I believe. Actually, I had to get the poll first, so get poll dot get in time, maybe. There we go. That's a lot better. And we'll go ahead and say p dot set choices, and then here that's going to go ahead and be new array list, like so. We're going to have to save them. We're going to go and say saved poll is equal to poll service dot, and we're going to go ahead and say generate poll, and then we can go ahead and pass in p. After this, we can go ahead and set up the choices. So list of poll choice, and inside here we're going to go ahead and say poll choices, whoops, poll choices is equal to a new array list. So set up that new array list, and here we'll say list, and then poll choice again is going to be equal to choices is equal to our DTO dot get poll, oops, get poll dot get choices. So now we need to save each of these choices and then attach them to our post. So we're going to go and say for, once again, old school int I equal to 0. I is going to be, whoops, less than our choices dot size, and then we're going to go ahead and say I plus plus. Here we're going to go ahead and say our poll choice, and this is going to equal to choice is equal to and choices dot get I. We could have done something like this with the post, but it is what it is. Choice dot set poll. We're going to go ahead and saved poll, and then we're going to go ahead and say choice, whoops, maybe choice is equal to poll service dot, and then we're going to go ahead and say generate choice, and then pass in that choice. And then from here we can say poll choices, maybe if I could type dot add, and then that choice. So basically we're going to go ahead and save each poll choice. Okay, that's fine. We need to make sure we actually do that. Make sure nothing else is mad and not equal to null. We're going to have our saved poll dot set choices, pass in those poll choices, maybe, and then saved poll dot is equal to poll service dot, and then we're going to go ahead and generate poll with our saved poll once again. Sorry, y'all, had to pause the recording there for a second. So we are almost done. Now that we have our saved poll, we want to go ahead and say post dot set poll. Go ahead and put on that saved poll. And we have a little bit more to do, so we're going to set up a string array. It's going to be called words. It's going to equal to DTO dot get content, and then we're going to go ahead and split it by each space, and then we're going to go ahead and say list of application user, whoops, and this is going to be mentioned users is equal to a new array list, and then we're going to go ahead and set that up, and then we're going to say for our int I equal to 0, I is less than words dot length, and then I plus plus. And here we're going to go ahead and say try, and we're going to go ahead and try to say string username is equal to words of I dot substring, and then this is going to be 1, and then dot replace, this is fun, replace all, and I might copy paste this because this is kind of ugly. This is a regex, we had this before, it's copy pasted, so this is going to be caret A to Z, and then 0 to 9, and then this is going to be star $, comma, with an empty string, and then we're going to go ahead and say application user, maybe if I could type application user, and mentioned user is equal to user service dot get user by username, pass in that username, and I don't know where we actually checked to see that this is mentioned. Oh, we need to add if words of I that starts with, that's where I was going to say I don't understand how we're actually checking, but it's because I forgot. If it starts with an at symbol ampersand, we're going to go and do this, go and delete this and fix this up. There we go. And then maybe go in here, paste that back in, and we'll fix up whatever's going wrong with this, whoops, in a second. So now we're going to say mentioned users add, and go ahead and add in that mentioned user. Then we need to go ahead and whoops, mentioned user, and make sure we close this, and then we need to go ahead and set up a catch exception E, which apparently we don't do anything with. Again, this is actually old code that we had before, and it's still mad at us because of some other things. We'll fix that, and then finally we can go ahead and do the rest of our post stuff. I know this is getting pretty long here. So post.set, and we're going to go ahead and set the author, and then here this will be DTO.getAuthor. We're going to go ahead and say post.set our content. This will be DTO.getContent. We're going to go ahead and say post.set replies. So here we're going to go ahead and say new hash set. Again, we need to go ahead and set up ability to actually set up threads and stuff, so we'll deal with that later. Post.set audience. Here, this to go ahead and be DTO.getAudience, and I feel like we still missed setting up our date somehow, so I'll have to go back and look for that. And finally, post post.setReplyRestriction, and then this is going to go and be DTO.getReplyRestriction. I need to double check because there was some logic above for setting up our schedule date, but I don't see it in here, and I'm wondering if I missed it somehow. I think I did. It's below post images, so let me go ahead and add that in. So if our DTO.scheduled, so if it's scheduled, then we're going to go ahead and say post.setScheduled to true, and then here we're going to say post.setScheduled, schedule date. This is going to be DTO.getScheduledDate, maybe scheduled date. Okay, and then otherwise I'll fix that ID, so this will say if. Okay, and then otherwise, and this should be get scheduled, not just scheduled. There we go. So if it's scheduled, otherwise post.setScheduledDate, we're going to be local date time dot now, and then our post.setPostedDate will be local date and time dot now. So we'll go ahead and set that up. So that's fine, and these are still mad. I knew that I had forgot that. Now we get to the part of actually creating said post. So now we're going to go and set up one more try catch, and this is going to be an exception. Catch an exception E, and then throw new unable to say post exception. And here we're going to go ahead and say post posted is equal to post repo dot save our post, and then here we'll say notification service dot create and send notifications, and we're going to go ahead and say posted, and then we're going to go ahead and say mentioned users dot for each, and we need to go ahead and send out notifications to each of our notified users. So we're going to say mentioned user and set up our arrow function in here, and here we're going to say post reply equal to null. That might need to be worked on later. If posted.getReply2, reply2 is greater than 0, then we're going to go ahead and say reply is equal to post repo.get by ID, and then pass in posted.getReply like so. And then otherwise it'll be notification service dot create and send notification. Here notification type will be mention. I messed up. Mention, there we go. Recipient will be mention user, so we're going ahead and pass in our mentioned user. I don't know why mention user, I don't know why it's not showing up. Did I spell something wrong? There should be mention user like so, and we fix this up. Mention user, right? Next will be action user, so this will go ahead and be us. So this will be posted.get author, and then the post, and then the reply, and then after all this we'll go ahead and return posted. So now it's the controller is mad at us because we need to go ahead and make a couple changes. Let's hop into the post controller. Now inside the post controller, we're going to go ahead and we'll fix this up, but we're going to go ahead and remove this, remove reply, and remove the media. And then this is mad at us because we need to add throws. That's fine. Save that. It says there's compilation errors, but there shouldn't be. Let's go into our application console and give this a restart, and fingers crossed it starts up. Okay, we are started. Now we're running really long, and I'm probably not going to be able to record the next episode that I wanted, especially whenever this doesn't work. But let's hop into the front end and just see what happens. Let's go ahead and give this a refresh. So now if we go ahead and just say, let's attempt to make a post, and then let's see, I'm assuming we're gonna get a 500, something's gonna break. I'm going to debug and come back to y'all. Let's send a post. Oh my goodness, it worked first try. I don't know how that even occurred. Now I'm feeling a little daring. Let me blur my screen for a second. Okay, let me go ahead and grab an image. We open up some images. Let's see if images want to work. Go ahead and send that. Oh my goodness, it worked. What are the odds? Cool. So we don't actually have anything broken, it seems like. At least I shouldn't say that because there probably is something broken. We'll deal with, I'll test polls and stuff off camera. I'm not too worried about them. I was more worried about the two big ones. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. This has been an absolute doozy. Probably pushing over 40 minutes at this point. So sorry about how long that took. But if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps out here with the YouTube algorithm. I just noticed we're missing a border on that side. That's interesting. But anyway, y'all, this has been Ethan, or Unknown Coder. If you do want to see where you start from absolute scratch, there's a playlist in the end card, like one of these ways. I'm not sure. But with that being said, y'all have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.